Good morning, everybody. How are you? I want you to turn around to somebody around you and say, you are the best looking person I've seen today. Tell somebody, you're the best looking person. Thank you. Yes, sir. We're beginning this brand new series on how to deal with difficult people. Next week, we're going to talk about how to deal with overly needy people. Don't look at them. The following week, we're going to wrap it up talking about how to deal with manipulative. That's 5 syllables. That's manipulative. Anyways, today we're going to kick it off talking about how to deal with critical people. Now, critical people. Something happened, 2 things happened this service that fleshed this out for me. One is, been here 30 years this year. This has only happened one other time. But before this service, I went to the restroom and I left my microphone on. I'll say no more. So I got a little criticism for that. The other thing was I was kind of digging you today, AJ. This is AJ, our young adult leader right here. This is the man, the dude. And an amazing drummer. He just like all into it. And I just leaned over to Casey. I said, listen, Casey, see that? I've always secretly wanted to be a drummer. She just laughed, and she said, and then you did one of your hot licks, you put it, boom. And I said, I could do that. You know what she says? She says, well, you'd have to get a wig first. So, AJ, thank you for leading our young adults. Thank you for being an amazing drummer. Thank you for allowing me to get criticism today. I appreciate that. Can we thank AJ for all he does for the Lord? I love you, buddy. How do we handle critical people? How many of you know at least one very, very critical person? Raise your hand, please. How many of you are sitting beside? No, I'm just kidding. We don't want fights to break out. We're good. We all deal with critical people in our lives, and as a public person, there's not a day that goes by that I don't sometimes get a little bit of criticism one way or the other. For example, last week I made a bold prediction about the Super Bowl. I said that the Patriots were going to win the Super Bowl. And when I did, I had, the Patriot fans were yay, and all the Eagles fans were boo, they hated my guts. Later that evening, the Eagles got lucky, and they won the Super Bowl. And my grandchildren were watching the game with me, and anyways, after the game was won by the Eagles, luckily, did I say they got lucky? Anyways, my grandbabies were with me, and when I started saying I'm going to become an Eagles fan now that they won, my grandchildren went crazy on me. Now, I roughhouse with them a little bit, so this isn't elder abuse, what you're about to see. But Lydia caught the moment on her iPhone. Watch the screens.
The Eagles, my new favorite. I love the Eagles.
So who's your new favorite team?
I love the Eagles.
No, shut up. Bandwagon fan.
I love the Eagles. Yay!
No.
I love them. Look there. Oh, my favorite new team.
You are a fan.
Elder abuse, man, I'm telling you. So I'm now an Eagles fan. We all deal with criticism. You see it all through the Bible. You see it in the Old Testament. Moses, you see him being criticized by his brother and his sister because he married a woman of a different ethnicity. She wasn't of the right tribe, so therefore Aaron and Miriam just went off on him, just said all these horrible things. So, hey, if you married somebody that your family doesn't like, welcome to the Moses Club. In the New Testament, Jesus Christ, here is Jesus like the Christ, the anointed one, the perfect one. Yet the perfect one was criticized all the time, usually by very uber-religious people. Oh, that Jesus, he just eats with anybody. He eats food, he drinks wine with the prostitutes and the IRS agents and all those. He doesn't have dinner guests, he has sinner guests. Boo on Jesus. Here's what I know. You and I will be criticized in life, because if Moses was criticized, if Jesus was criticized as good as they were, you and I are going to be criticized as well. Now, here's a big thought for the day. It's in your outline up on the screens. It's simply this: praise and criticism are windows to the heart. Would you say that with me out loud, everybody? Ready, go. Praise and criticism are windows to the heart. For example, praise often reveals what people value most. For example, before a service happened, I saw some guys that had some good-looking shirts on, and I was praising them. I was celebrating their shirts. Like, gosh, man, that's, right? I said, hey, that's a good-looking shirt you got on. That color blue, cobalt blue, looks good on you. You know why I was praising him? Because I like really nice shirts. That's why I'm wearing this today. So you're going to give that to me, right? I want that shirt. So whatever we praise is what we value. On the other hand, let's put the next one up. Criticism often reveals our deepest insecurities. Criticism, what we criticize, often reveals our deepest insecurities. For example, some high school girls are walking down the hall, and they're in their little groupie, and they pass by these other group of girls, and they keep a hi, 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 and they walk by, and a little conversation ensues like this. Oh, like she is so into her image. Oh my gosh. Like the other day, I saw her in the bathroom, and she's just all into herself, and she's looking in the mirror and all that. And hey, by the way, do you have any lip gloss? I need to put my lip gloss on. Can we get out of this wind right now? My hair's going to get messed up. Whatever we criticize typically are the areas we feel insecure ourselves. Jesus said it like this in Matthew 7:4. Let's read it together. Everybody ready? Go. How can you think of saying, let me help you get rid of that speck in your eye, when you can't see past the log in your own? The truth is, praise and criticism are often windows to the heart. Again, all of us deal with criticism. The truth is, some of you were raised or being raised in a home where there is a lot of negative criticism. You're never good enough. If you get an A, you should have got an A+. Some of you are in marriages where there's a lot of constructive, or let's call it destructive criticism. Hey, why aren't you more like so-and-so? Why? Some of you are in a job where there's always negative criticism from the boss coming your way. Some of you have friends, are your biggest critics. I would say to you, get new friends. Some of us even have fellow believers that are they're just uber religious, and they're always pointing their bony finger at us and giving us heck about you know what. It's amazing to me sometimes that Christ followers can be the most critical when we should be more like God. So what do we do with these critical people in our lives? Because you have them, I have them. How do we handle criticism? I'm going to give you right now 2 wrong responses. Then I'm going to give you 3 right responses. So if you're taking notes, jot this down. Number 1, there's a wrong response, and that is simply fight. When somebody criticizes you, you fight back. Now, some of you, it's physical fighting. That's not what I'm talking about. You obviously shouldn't do that. But a lot of times it's not physical fighting back, it's emotionally, it's with our words. And you know what I'm talking about. I kind of got the little fighter in me too. Somebody attacks us, verbally and criticizes us, and all of a sudden our heart is racing and our blood pressure's going up, and our mind is just going into overdrive. What we're going to say, I'm going to get you, I'm going to zing you. I want to fight back. The second wrong response is not fight, it's flight. When somebody criticizes me, somebody criticizes you, we tend to withdraw. Dude, you've hurt me way too much, too often. I'm going to put an arm's distance between me and you so that you won't hurt me again. And we withdraw. We go into our shell. It's fight or flight. Those are natural responses, but they're not the proper responses. They're not the best responses. I want to give you 3 biblical responses to people who criticize you. The first one, if you're taking notes, jot this down. The first one is listen. Listen. When somebody criticizes me, I want to listen to their criticism if it is, say it with me, constructive. Is what? constructive. How many of you know there's a big difference between destructive and constructive criticism? So I want to listen to people that really are giving me constructive criticism. Now, how do we know when to listen? Number one, when their motive is to help, not hurt. Their motive is to help you, not hurt you. For example, let's just say you're trying to lose some weight. And let's just say somebody comes up to you and they say, listen, man, In Shape Gym has this 2-for-1 sale membership, and man, I want to go to the gym with you. You want to work out? Man, I'd listen because they care about you. They care about me. I'd join the gym with them. They care about me. However, if somebody comes up to me and they say, hey, yo, James, you should not eat that Oreo. You're starting to look like an Oreo. You've had one too many Oreos. You ever see anybody like that? They criticize you and then laugh about it and then say, hey, can't you take a joke, man? Sorry, did I spray you guys? I'm just telling you, sit in the front row. It's the way it is. Be careful of the person that's always in jest criticizing you, because I've discovered they really mean most of what they say. So that person that's criticizing you like that doesn't have pure motives. They're really trying to get to you. They're trying to hurt you in some way. So I want to listen to the person that wants to help me, not to hurt me. Years ago, when I was a young pastor, just came to New Life, transitioning this church from a classical Pentecostal church to what it has become. It was tough making changes. And I was taking criticism left and right, taking criticism. And I want to receive, like you do, I want to receive constructive criticism, but some of what I was getting wasn't so constructive. It hurt. But I didn't know how to discern the difference between deconstructive and constructive criticism. So I came across a scripture one day that fixed it for me. I was 28, 29 years old. I'm reading through the book of John, and I came across this scripture where Jesus is confronting the uber-religious Pharisees who are criticizing him. I want you to see this drop the mic moment. Here's what Jesus said. It's not in your outline, but this is my verse I've lived by when it comes to criticism. John 5, 41, 42. Jesus said, your approval or disapproval means nothing to me. For as I know so well, you don't have God's love within you. Drop the mic. What Jesus said, and I caught in my soul that day, is I will only, if you love me, you can criticize me. You can say anything because I know you love me. You're looking out for my best interest. But if you don't love me, talk to the hand. So it really kind of simplified who speaks into my life, who gives me criticism, because I want it, but I want to know that you love me. And if you don't love me, then again, God bless you, but I'm not listening to you. It really simplifies life. I want to know that somebody's trying to help me, not harm me by their criticism. How do we know when to listen? When their motive is to help, not hurt. And then secondly, when the person can actually help you. They can help you. They don't just want to, but they got education or training, or they've had experience, and they're offering you constructive criticism to make you a better person. How many of you want to be open to that kind of criticism? You want to grow wise. And how do you grow wise? By listening to constructive criticism. Let's read together Proverbs 15, verse 31 and 32. Everybody, ready, go. If you listen to constructive criticism, you will be at home among the wise. If you reject criticism, you only harm yourself. If you want to be your best self, be open to constructive criticism. Listen to those who have something to tell you that can help you, and they love you. Right response number one, listen. Response number two that's right is answer. Answer. In other words, when people are criticizing us, we want to, there is a time to give an answer. There's a time to defend yourself. So when is the time to answer people when they're criticizing you? In your outline, when the person is missing information that would change his or her perception. How many of you have ever been in a situation where somebody's coming at you, they're saying, hey, criticizing you, hey, hold on. Can I tell you a little piece of information you don't have yet? right? And you tell them, and all of a sudden they go, oh man, thank you for telling me that. Now I understand. What's happened? You answered them back. You gave them a piece of information that helped them to see the bigger picture. Another time to answer people is when the person is open to change. How many of you know that if somebody's criticizing you and you try to answer their response, but they're not ready to hear you, not ready to change, that you're just talking to the wind? This really applies to those of us who are married. I want to speak to the married folk for just a second. This last Friday, Lydia and I celebrated 25 years of marital bliss. It was our 38th wedding anniversary. 38 years of marital bliss. And in the early days especially, we did this very wrong. Not good. Hi, how are you? What's up? Anyways, early days, Lydia and I we didn't have this thing down I'm talking to you about. I'd come to her with my so-called constructive criticism I thought was constructive. I was dumb. I didn't have a clue. It wasn't constructive. But I'd come to her with all my wisdom, and honey, I want to help you understand. I'm going to bring a little bit of criticism to help you become a better person. Dumb boy that I was. Couldn't get the clue. Because all I had to do was look at her face. She was giving me a look. How many of you guys know there is a look? You might as well stop talking. She would give me the look. And then she would give me the stance. It's Valentine's Day. Let me help you guys out. Anytime you see this here, that means something. So I'm blah, 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 blah. I'm going to help you. Listen to me. I'm going to change your life today. And she would go, and I keep talking, and I'm not clueless. And it took me a lot of cold nights on the couch to realize that I can keep talking all I want, but if she's not open to hear it, she's not going to hear it. Listen, I'm going to save you tens of thousands of dollars today if you'll listen to me. I'll save you like us. We've spent hundreds of hours in the counselor's office to fix us. Listen, if you give criticism to somebody who's not able to hear it at that moment, you're wasting your time, you're making things worse. But it's the truth. But if they're not open to hear your truth, you're just wasting your breath. So I want to make sure that when somebody's criticizing me, that when I'm coming back to answer them, that they really want to change, that they want to hear my opinion. If not, again, you got to move on. So how do we answer a critical person? Well, there's a story in the Bible about a man named Gideon. Gideon's a leader. He has a bunch of people who are coming at him and criticizing him. But I want you to see what happens. In Judges 8, 1 and 2, it says, the Ephraimites asked Gideon, why have you treated us like this? And they criticized him sharply, but he answered them. You can read the story later, but let me tell you what he answered them. First of all, he defended himself because they were really wanting to know what this was all about. They were open to change, open to hear it. And he defended himself. He gave them some information they didn't have. And they had okay, that makes sense. And you read the end of the story, you know what it says? And they no longer were angry with Gideon. Why? Because he gave them some information they didn't have, because he told it to somebody that was really open to grow and to learn and to hear the other side. There is a time when somebody cares about you. They can help you. And they give you constructive criticism. You need to listen to them. There are also times when somebody is criticizing you and a piece of information would help to change their perception. Then you need to answer them. The third one is where we want to spend a little bit of time, because this is where we get hung up. So we answer, we listen. Number 3, jot this down, dismiss. Dismiss. What do we dismiss? We have to dismiss invalid criticism. When do we dismiss invalid criticism? When the person criticizing is characterized by being overly critical. Again, don't raise your hands, but how many of you know somebody that's just chronically, constantly, overtly, no, you can put your hand down. We'll do marriage counseling afterwards. Critical, yeah? These people are critical about everything. In fact, when they die and go to heaven someday, they're going to walk down the streets of gold and be complaining that there's gold dust on them, their streets. Heard about this hairstylist who was this way. He was just constantly criticizing, chronically critical. And he had this salesman that came in to get a haircut one day, and the salesman mentioned to the hairstylist that he was taking a trip to Rome, Italy. The critical stylist said, "Oh, Rome is a terribly overrated city. You're going to hate it." The stylist then asked the salesman, "And what airline are you taking? What hotel are you going to be staying at in Rome?" The salesman said, "Man, I'm going to fly in United. I'm going to stay in the Marriott Hotel. It's going to be awesome." The stylist said, "Oh, United is undependable and the Marriott has horrible service. You're going to hate it. You just better just stay home." "Oh, no, I wouldn't miss this trip because I'm going to see the Pope." The stylist shook his head in disbelief. "You're going to be so disappointed when you try to see the Pope. He only grants audiences to the very important people, not people like you." About a month later, the hairstylist comes back, gets a little trim. "Hey, how was your trip to Rome?" "Oh, absolutely wonderful. The flight was fantastic. Marriott was fantastic. And I got to see the Pope." The hairstylist couldn't believe it. "What? You got to see the Pope? What did the Pope say to you?" "Well, first of all, I bent down and I kissed the Pope's ring." "What did he say to you?" "He looked down at my head and he asked, 'My son, where did you ever get such a lousy haircut?'" When do we dismiss invalid criticism? When the person criticizing us is overly chronically critical. And secondly, when the person who is criticizing is emotionally unhealthy or wounded. Oh, don't miss this. I say this all the time. Hurt people hurt people. Say that with me. Hurt people hurt people. When a person is hurt internally, when they're wounded, they're like a wounded dog. They're going to hurt you. See, and here's the thing you got to get about this. The criticism that they're giving you isn't about you at all. It's about them. They're broken. They're hurt. If somebody's hurting in their finances and you've been going through Financial Peace University and you've been tithing and saving and getting out of debt and you're starting to prosper, sometimes people that aren't doing so well financially will criticize you. "Oh, look at them. Who do they think they are?" Sometimes hurt people when it comes to marriages because their marriage isn't doing so well, but they look at yours and you've been to the counselor and you've done the hard work. Your marriage is doing good, but they'll criticize you in that area of marriage because they're hurting. Sometimes I come up to you guys before or after church and we're a hugging church, so I come up to you and I hug you. And hugging you is like hugging a sculptured statue. You're like, "How you doing, Pastor?" I look at you and I go, "Listen, you know who I'm talking about. You've been working out at the gym too much. You're wasting a little bit more time than you should be at that gym, man. You need to slow down. And I know you're roiding. You can't look that good naturally." Hurt people hurt people. A lot of you have people in your life right now that are striking out at you. They're saying these bad things towards you and it's hurting you. Listen, you got to dismiss that criticism because it's not about you. It's about them. They're hurting. They're wounded. They're broken. And they're taking it out on you. But guess what? It is your choice to either accept it or reject it. Now, here's what you got to get in your heart, because some of you are on the front end of your journey, and let me help you out. I'm James, I'm your friend, and I'm getting older, so I got something to tell you. As God begins to bless your life, your ministry, your business, your home, your finances, the higher you go, the more influence God gives you, the more impact you make in life, the bigger the target is on you. You become an easy target for people who are just having a bad day. And they take it on you. I've always said this, the higher you go up the mountain, the bigger the bullseye is on your behind. Because people down there at the bottom of the mountain, they want to stay at the mountain. They don't want to climb the mountain. They're not going to go with you to the mountain, but they're going to gripe the whole way that you're going up there, and they go, poof. Pioneers always take the arrows. Pioneers always take the arrows. So you have to decide, listen, I'm not going to put my emotional well-being in the hands of somebody who forgot to take their meds that day. I don't mean that wrong. I'm all for the meds. That's cool. But sometimes somebody misses a dosage. And I did this. I swear to you, I did this in my early days. Well, I was ready to quit the church. I was so depressed. Why? Because somebody said something to me, and they're all mad, and they're criticizing me. And I went, about a month later, they come to me and say, hey, Pastor Jane, man, I'm so sorry I said that to you. I forgot to take my meds that day. Oh my gosh, I was ready to resign this church because you forgot to take your meds. Never place your emotional well-being in the hands of somebody who is wounded or hurt. It is your choice. It is my choice. We can choose, watch this, we can choose to turn away from it, to dismiss it. Watch this, to pivot. Everybody say pivot. Pivot. Facing you, you're saying, yeah, you're vomiting all over me because you're having a bad day, forgot to take your meds. I just love you, goodbye. That's what Jesus did. Read the Gospels. People going after Jesus saying, yeah. Here's what it says again and again. It says, and he turns his back and walks away and leaves them still like a little chihuahua. And he walks away. Why? Because he's not going to waste his energy or his life on the critical people that are just having a bad day. Jesus put it like this. He said, don't take your treasure and cast it before the swine. I'm not calling people pigs that do that. I'm just telling you what Jesus said. Your treasure is what? Your treasure is your time. It's your life. It's your energy. It's your dreams. And I promise you, there's always somebody to throw a stone at your dream. And there's times you just got to go, bye. And you pivot, you turn, you walk away. As Taylor Swift sings, shake it off. Shake it off. See ya in Jesus' name. I'm telling you, what I'm telling you right now can help you. It can change your life. Because we get toxic, full of this stuff of people's, and we feel like we have to take it. No, you don't. Take control of your own life. Make your choice. I'm going to reject that. I'm going to pivot, move away, and I'm going to receive this. Again, back to the uber religious people. Jesus was being confronted by them. And Jesus talked about them like they were plants. Here's what he said. Matthew 15. Every plant not planted by my heavenly Father will be rooted up. So say it with me, the rest of the line. Ready, go. So ignore, say it with me. So ignore, you got to say it again. So ignore them, dismiss them, pivot, move away. They are blind guides leading the blind, and they will both fall into the ditch. It's my choice. It's your choice. Today, God brought you here to speak a word to you. Because if truth be known, some of you come here today and you're still haunted by words from a parent or a pastor or a teacher or a friend from way back when. You're haunted by it. Let it go. It's your choice. You can choose to hang on to it. You can choose to let it go. Some of you are still living your life trying to prove somebody wrong to please somebody who is dead. They're worm food. They're gone. And yet you're still trying to please them. And I hear God say to you, let it go. They're dead. Let that word die inside of you so that you can really live. Some of you come here today, you're driven by what other people think. You watch your social media and, do I have enough likes? Oh my gosh, I don't have enough likes. Oh, she's got that many friends. I don't want to get this. Oh, I'm so sad. Let it go. I'm going to help you out today because I'm your friend. Some of you, you're driven by wanting to get everybody to like you. Can I give you a clue? They're never going to like you because it ain't about you. They're a jerk. I'm telling you, man, tomorrow you're going to use this. Yeah. You're not going to say it out loud, but in your head, you go, that's a jerk. Pivot. Walk away. Turn your back. Don't be mean. Just turn and walk away. Man, you only got one life. Don't waste it on negative, cranky, critical people. Yeah? Be free. We can't please all the people, but we can please God. You want to get to the place where someday you say, hey, God likes me. I like me. And if you don't like me, guess who's got the problem? The closing verse says it all. For we speak as messengers who have been approved by God. Approved by God to be entrusted with the good news. Our purpose, here it is, say it with me. Our purpose is to please God, not to please God, not people. So you get in God's presence in the morning and you say, God, I want to please you today. Is my heart right, God? If it is, then I want to just live my life the way you've told me to live it. And then you go and live your life. God likes me, I like me. And you live your life. And then you lay your head down on the pillow and you go, Lord, today I did my best to honor you. And one day I'm going to hear you say, well done, good and faithful servant. There'll be 4,000 people here this weekend. And I love every single one of you, but I don't live my life for 4,000 people. I live my life for an audience of one. Because I know there's a day coming that I'll stand before Jesus. And I'll give an account of my life. And on that day, it won't matter what 4,000 people think. When I look into the eyes of the Almighty, when I look in the eyes of Jesus, I want him to say, well done, good and faithful servant. Live your life for an audience of one. Because that will bring peace to your mind, peace to your heart. And one day when you close your eyes for the last time, one day when you lay your head on the pillow for the last time, and you open up your eyes to the beauty of heaven, to the beauty of Jesus, and you hear him say those words, well done. You pleased me. You didn't please people all the time, but you pleased me. It'll be worth it. Simplifies life.